Alrighty, so after a few technical problems, we are finally live. I hope there will be live stream watchers right now. So, hi, lovelies. Here's Diana Joy, your host of Impactful Female Entrepreneurs Group. Super excited to be here for our today's episode of Expert Series Kick Off Your Online Business with Confidence. And today we will be talking about how to create your epic course with a special guest, Seema Bharwani. I met Seema at AFES Bali in 2013, and this girl struck me with her brilliance, leadership, and strategic thinking. Seema also helped create an epic content for Lisa Nichols' team. Hey dear, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good, Deanna. Thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting to see how you've been building your group and your business. And I've been watching you putting out amazing content and stuff that's so useful for new coaches who want to develop and grow their community and their business. So I'm very excited to be here and to share what I know about learning and course creation with your tribe.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your kind words. So before we dive deep into today's episode, as usual, to our audience, make sure that you watch us to the very end because Seema prepared a very cool gift for you, and that will be something very special. So just stick around till the very end, okay? So now we're ready to hit it, okay? Seema, why don't you start with sharing a little bit of yourself and your story, who you are and what you do?
Awesome, thank you. So my name is Seema Bharwani, and I help entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, speakers, trainers package their expertise and their brilliance through online products and courses. And I started my journey in learning and development in 2003. I worked with IBM here in India for 6 years. I ran a face-to-face learning and training consultancy for 6 years. And I decided in 2009 that I wanted to have a couple of streams of income. So I looked online to see what are people doing online and what can I do and how can I transition my skills, which is course creation and course delivery, to this online space. And I found that there was this void at that time where people, especially a lot of really well-known authors and speakers and coaches, were looking to create these passive, so-called passive income products, and they were looking for experts to help them do that. And so that was really how I got started in this space. And I just slowly fell in love with the freedom and the independence that comes with working for yourself and then working with incredible people from around the world. So last year, I pretty much decided to transition almost 90% online and working in this space. So I don't do as much consulting unless it's a really interesting project for me, and then I'll go and do it. But I really love being in this space and love working with people around the world, helping them to make more income for themselves and then more impact in the world and in their spaces.
Awesome. Amazing introduction, Seema. Interesting. So let's talk now more about this topic, creating these epic courses online. And I know for a fact, Seema, that, I myself face that many female entrepreneurs and coaches feel stuck at first when it comes to creating an online product or offer that is really reflecting on who they are. So of course you can copy, but that doesn't mean people will buy it and doesn't mean it's authentic, you know what I mean, right? So
right.
Could you start by sharing with us where to start when you as a female entrepreneur coach just starting online?
Perfect. Great question. So the first thing that I would say, and I know this goes against a lot of advice that people get on the internet, but the first thing that I would say is try and do as much one-to-one or group work, live work as you can, because I think only when you actually work with your tribe do you understand who they really are, what are they really struggling with, how can you help them with what they're struggling with, and also the important question of who do you not like to work with? Because as you keep working with people, that's when you realize this is not really my kind of person and I don't want to attract this sort of person. So my first step when you're starting online is do as much one-to-one done for you or live coaching as you possibly can, because I think that really helps you set that platform. Once you've done that, a lot of people will try and jump into creating this big six-figure signature program. And I really think that's a big mistake, because you really need to have a platform to make that kind of income, and you need to have that kind of a community and have established yourself and stood out from amongst the noise. So my advice is to start with small products that solve specific problems. And a really easy way to do this is to come up with a list of 10 to 15 real questions or challenges that your tribe has, and then to see how can I create smaller products that are between 50 to 100, maybe under $200 that can solve these problems. Sorry. And some of the formats that you can use is you can create tools and templates, which I personally like. I love templates and swipe files and toolkits because I think they really work. You can also create mini courses, which are not as large and don't take as much time as a signature program, and they run automatically, so you don't need to have that face-to-face intervention with somebody when they're going through it. You can create a masterclass, which is a one-shot training. So you have a lot of different options with which you can play with, but they're not a long-term, long-cost investment for you like a signature program would be.
Wow, that's a very interesting approach, because I learned opposite. Okay, so this is something interesting we are discovering here today. Seema, let's now talk. You just started to mention about the mistakes, the common mistakes, the major mistakes that online entrepreneurs coaches do when they just starting, right? So could you just share some light on that, please?
Great. So I think the biggest mistake that people make is they try to teach everything they know in one shot. And, you're an expert. You took a lot of time and effort and research and studying and practice to become an expert. I think Malcolm Gladwell is the one who said that, you need to build up 10,000 hours of practice in order to be an expert. So a lot of people try and pour those 10,000 hours into a signature course and then give it to people and expect them to be at the same level. And that's a huge mistake, because you can't do that. They also need to put in a fair amount of hours to get to that level. So I think it's better to break up your expertise and really think about specific problems that you can solve and how you can leverage your expertise to solve that problem, rather than trying to fit everything you know into one program. So don't be afraid to create multiple products and multiple programs that allow you to get people at different levels and also solve specific problems for your audience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the first mistake.
Yes.
So the second mistake is not appealing to different learning styles. So a lot of people talk about this online now, so maybe some of your listeners already know this, but we have primarily 3 ways that we learn, and everybody learns in a different way. So some people learn through visual learning. They prefer to see information so that they can process it. Some people learn through auditory learning, so that they like to listen to information in order for them to understand and connect and learn it. And some people like to do stuff and take action in order to learn information. And I've seen a lot of programs where the course creator doesn't really look at the fact that people learn in different ways. So they'll create a program that's completely audio-based. And now, interesting thing is that only 8% of the world are audio learners. So you're really ignoring 92% of everybody that buys your program, because people don't really learn and process through the audio channel, which is why podcasts are really entertainment. They're not so much education unless you're actually sitting down and writing stuff. And that's your kinesthetic learners who'll be sitting and writing information down. Mm-hmm. So that's a mistake that I see people make as well, which is not appealing to the 3 learning styles. Something else that I see people doing is giving too much information versus just focusing on getting the real results from the program. So a lot of people I've seen this with some of my clients, sometimes we have a little fight over it. They'll come in and they'll tell me what it is that they want to create, and I'll tell them a solution, which is sometimes very simple. And it could be like a 20-minute course or like a little mini training that we create. And they're like, no, we have to create like 6 weeks. And it's a big tussle, because the person doesn't really need 6 weeks to implement this information. They just really need that 20 minutes plus some supporting material to get it done. And so there's a myth or a mistake around that, thinking that just because I give more information, I can charge more. But the truth is really that as you can give less information but have really stellar results, and people will still pay for that.
Interesting. Wow. Amazing. I'm learning so much.
Okay, so we did 3 mistakes. We have
okay. So what other mistakes?
So we have 2 more. So one is like my little pet peeve, which is that a lot of people do a free beta test, beta, whatever, however you pronounce it. So a lot of people do this free beta test, and they'll invite people on the condition that they go through the program, and then they give feedback and they give testimonials. And quite honestly, it fails, because nobody is committed unless they're committed with their wallets. And you're really asking somebody to devote a lot of time to you. Most people will be interested right in the beginning, but they sort of fall off halfway. So you're not really getting the right feedback and the right testimonials, and you're not getting it from people that paid in the first place. So they may or may not be your ideal customers. They might just be people looking for quick solutions who may not be able to pay for it when the time comes for you to sell it to them. So rather than doing a free beta test, I would strongly suggest that you do a pre-launch price for your beta test, where you can discount it to as much as 90%, which means that the person only pays you 10%, but they're still paying something. So the chances of them being your ideal client and actually showing up and do the work is so much higher than if they're just being offered it for free in exchange for a couple of testimonials and some feedback.
Awesome. Wow. Really, really great tips. Thanks so much, Seema. Could you share with me, like, it's just out of the blue question, like let's say the average price that you would recommend in general, what you are exactly talking about, the courses, online courses, like the average price that a new coach could charge for her, let's say, not a signature program, but the program that is just the kickoff, let's say the kickoff program, the pre-launch.
Okay, great question. So I think I've seen everything from $7 to like $4,900 online, pretty much, when it comes to the coaching space. And of course, high-end coaches where the coach is actually doing one-to-ones with you in addition to content, those programs are much more expensive. But I would say that a good rule of thumb is to make your first product under $50 if possible, so that it's a quick win. And it's also $50, no matter where you are in the world, is doable for most people. So and it's not something that requires a lot of thought and a lot of intent for somebody to purchase that price. So go with like the $50 price point, and then increment it towards your ideal price point. So I would really think about like, what's my ideal price that I want to charge for my signature program, and then just have like a bridge that builds in between your lowest and your highest. So that's kind of like, you don't go from 50 to like 5,000. You're going to have a couple of stops around the way. So
honestly, this is cool, because like really what I'm looking to create is it is a 5K signature program.
Awesome.
But that's a different story, I guess. So let's just continue and dive into the, how to package your zone of genius as a coach, trainer, and so it sells. Like, how exactly do you package that?
Okay, great question. So of course, one of them is the signature program, which we've talked about. But most people think that a signature program has to be something that you do completely on your own. So I'm here to flip that a little bit for you and say that you can also bring other experts into your signature program. The key is that I would strongly recommend that you pay them in some way, either as a percentage or a monetary figure, because when you pay them, they will treat it as an actual teaching experience. And that you're not going to have that situation where they're trying to upsell their own stuff and they have a hidden agenda with which they're contributing to your program. So make sure that there's some kind of, even a barter works. If they have a program that they're doing something similar and you teach there and they teach here, that's fine. But make sure that you compensate them in a way that they're not trying to upsell into their own funnel and into their own system. People will go check them out. That's okay. That's perfect. But you don't want their presentation to just be a pitch fest. So of course, there's the signature program, which I'm sure all your listeners know about. 3 other ways that you can think about packaging this is VIP days, and traditionally VIP days are face-to-face, but I think virtual VIP days work really well as well. So if you're not ready to do like the whole full-blown launch that goes with the signature program and you want to test your methodology, then think about what can I do with my ideal client in 4 hours or 6 hours, and what's that real concrete result that we can get out of it. So can we map their 90-day goals? Can we block through their limiting beliefs around a particular area of their life? Can we map out their food and diet schedule for 30 days? What can you do with them? And then host a VIP day around that. And you can do it virtually. You can do it in person if you're located somewhere that makes it easy for people to travel to, or you can travel, and start with that. So that's a really nice, fun way to package your genius as a coach. And then the other two ways is, one is to do blended programs, which means that don't think about the fact that I have to do all of this automatic or automated. I can actually do a blend of having coaching calls that are live, and then I can deliver some part of my material automatically through a digital interface. And so I can blend the two together. So people are still getting a taste of me. Maybe it's in a small group setting, and the cost comes down of the program. So it doesn't have to be $5,000 because it's not one-to-one. It could be like $999 because you're doing 10 people at a time, but they're getting value, you're getting value, so it really works. And then lastly, I would strongly recommend is to create a salary for yourself. And the best way to create a salary for yourself is to have some kind of recurring revenue or a membership site that you put together. So maybe put something together which is where they can log in and they can learn information. You can deliver stuff to them, which means that you can deliver, if you're a health and nutrition coach, you can deliver workouts and eating plans to them. If you're a motivation coach, you can deliver a certain package to them. But think about what can you create that's a monthly payment plan for people, and that just goes on indefinitely. And that's like having a salary that pays you, because as long as you maintain a certain number of people, you'll always get a certain payout in the bank account.
Wow, Seema, you are a gold. Honestly, thank you so much being so generous right now with us and the audience. So ladies, please, note it down, take notes, and learn from Seema. All right, so let's move on, since we have to stick to the time frame. So, Seema, is there a formula on creating an epic online course, and what are the components of that?
Okay, great, good question. So I also missed on telling you guys one mistake that people make, and that's really ties into this system or process, is not having an expert in your corner. Because as coaches, the value of having an expert in your corner. So when it comes to course creation as well, there is a certain amount you can do on your own, but I strongly recommend finding an expert that you enjoy learning with or working with, and getting a second set of eyes to just go over your program, even if they don't design it for you, just to go over it and give you their thoughts on your outline and how you're putting your information together is super valuable. And it's just like having a coach for course creation, honestly. Okay, so let's go back to the system or process. So I have a 5-step process that I use to create any kind of content that is related to learning for myself and for my clients. And so the 5 steps are to identify, to create, to develop, to deliver, and then to evaluate. So those are the 5 steps, and I'll walk you through each one. So the first step is to identify. And the first thing you want to do is you want to identify who do you want to work with. So who's your ideal audience for your particular offering? What are the results that you want to create for them? How do you want to package it? So what's the format that you're going to choose? Is it going to be like a small mini course or template, or is it a big signature program or a membership site? I also encourage you in the identification stage to look at who's your competition in terms of other people doing this, in terms of other courses that exist, books, podcasts, other people's blogs. Look for competition. Competition is really good. An overcrowded niche is difficult, but a niche which actually has people in it is great, because it means there are people making money from your idea. And there is an audience willing to pay for that. So it's very important to, when you have a great idea, to have somebody who's willing to pay for that great idea as well. So definitely look at the competition and the fact that people need your idea and they're willing to pay for it. So the second step is to create. So here is where I would recommend you just create your outline. And once you've created your outline, which is everything you want to include in your program or your product, get a couple of people to look this over or ask questions around it. So you can, this is where I would suggest getting a course creator to come in and look at your outline and give you feedback. If you cannot afford a course creator, then look at places where your ideal clients hang out, or reach out to a couple of clients that you trust and that you enjoy working with and who you think would be a perfect fit for this product, and ask if you can interview them for 15 or 20 minutes and then just walk them through the outline and get their feedback. So vet your outline once you've created it and make those tweaks. Once you've done that, this is the fun part, at least for me as a course creator, this is the fun part, which is where you develop your materials. So you can develop your PowerPoint slides. If you're doing live video, which is face-to-face, face-to-camera video, then you're going to have to get a studio and lighting kit and all of the tech stuff that goes with it. I really recommend just doing slides and voicing over those slides. People really enjoy watching slides more than they enjoy watching face-to-face, because it's easier for the visual people to see what you're talking about. And then you'll do your workbooks, and you'll do any kind of materials that you want to give out. The fourth stage is where you implement, and this is really where you're looking at, where can I host this? What's the best technology platform for me? And then you're actually selling your program and getting people to go through the program with you. And then the last stage is where you evaluate and you get feedback. So this is really where you're going to go back and ask learners, was this valuable to you? What did I miss? What else do you want to know about? So that gives you a clue as to what's your next program and what's your next offer. Do you have any testimonials to share with me? Is there anybody else that you think would be interested in this program that we can? So this is really where you'll get your referrals. And if you're going to implement an affiliate strategy, then this is the stage in which you're going to implement an affiliate strategy after people have gone through your program, they've gotten results, and then they want to tell other people about it. So that's really the 5 stages of course creation. And the 6th stage is not really a stage, but it's my strong recommendation and encouragement to you, is that most of us, very few of us, and I would say like 1%, will go from 0 to 6 figures on their first launch. So that is really the exception. It is not the rule. So what I really recommend is, regardless of how small your first launch is, whether it's 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, don't worry about it. Just think of it like compound interest in your bank account. The first initial amount seems really small, but as you keep putting money in and you give it time, it grows. So it's the same thing with relaunching your programs. Is your first launch might be 10 people, but your second launch will probably be 20 or 30, and it just grows from there. Most people that I've seen, they double every time they launch. So even if you did just 2 people, eventually, if you launch enough, you're going to be at like 100. So don't give up too early. Stick it out. As long as one person is buying, there is a chance that somebody else will buy as well.
Absolutely. This is awesome, Seema. There is a learning curve, right? So exactly. You learn, you do better, you improve, and then you hit your magical numbers.
Exactly.
All righty. So I'm so much enjoying what you're sharing today. However, we don't have so much time, and I think you just packed everything in such a short amount of time. So I'm just basically having my last question before we, go into the special offer that you prepared. So you mentioned already about the creating the passive income. And to be honest, like I hear so many women and I see so many women online talking about like they really desire to create the passive income. And for them, it sounds like it's something like, this best kept secret. They just want to figure this out. So what's your take on how to create passive income and where it can come from?
Okay. So I honestly do not think there's any such thing as passive income, to be honest. Exactly. I just think there's systemized income, which means that you create a product once and then you focus your energy on selling that product again and again, but you're still doing something. So it's not like you create something, you're sticking it somewhere and it's going to sell on autopilot. It doesn't happen. You're always going to have to create traffic. You're always going to have to create buzz. You're always going to have to promote it. So there's nothing as truly truly passive income unless you're unless you're renting a flat or you've got money in the bank and it's growing in terms of funds and stuff. So really, when it comes to online passive income, don't think about like there's this mystery that there's this way to just do a product once and then you don't touch it ever again. Yes, you can create a product once, but you will always have to devote a couple of hours to 10 hours a week promoting that product. And as you go over time and you develop better systems, the amount of time you spend promoting it comes down, but you will still always have to do some work to promote it. So really no such thing as true online passive income.
Okay, cool. So the myth, there is a big myth around it, right? So thank you for sharing that. So Seema, like what could be the passive income? You already started talking about it. So let's give a few examples of what could be not a passive, but as you say, systemized income, from now and then.
For coaches or for myself or?
Yeah, let's say for coaches, I think you already mentioned like the membership side, or more of that, please.
Okay, so there's lots of things you can do. You can do membership sites, you can do signature program, you can do a group blended mastermind program, you can do virtual VIP days. You're still going to do the work in the VIP day, but you can set up the system so that it's at least except for the actual facilitation, the rest of it is already structured and set up. So you can do that. You can do templates and toolkits. You can have swipe files. You can have mini courses. You can have master classes. You have a lot of different options. Okay. You can also do affiliate sales, honestly, using courses. Like one of the programs that I'm currently working on launching is creating an email course, and an email course is the best way to be an affiliate for other people's programs. So if you have a lot of tools that you use, like for example, Lead Pages or Bluehost or WordPress, you can promote all of this by teaching people how to use these for free. And then you have your affiliate link attached to that. If you go to Pat Flynn, who runs Smart Passive Incomes, he publishes his monthly earnings. And if you go to his monthly earnings dashboard, you'll see a large chunk of his earnings comes from Bluehost, because he has this amazing tutorial on his website on how to set up and launch a website in an hour. And it's a link to Bluehost. And so everybody purchases the Bluehost subscription and then Bluehost pays him. So there's lots of different ways that you can create this.
Yeah. So I guess this last one is more for the course creation people or people who are, behind the scenes more or less. And I've seen coaches doing, this. They first do the 5-day life challenge. Then they basically save their videos and make it a tutorial and, make it the online training and then sell it for like as little as $25, basically.
Yeah.
Or, up to $100. So there's so many ways. Absolutely agree. So Seema, that was a pleasure. Lots of valuable content you shared with us today. So now it's time to announce your special offer. So what would you like to give away as a special gift to our audience today? I know you have one.
Thanks. So first of all, completely something that's completely free that people can grab, which is if you're stuck on what's a quick, easy course idea which I can create, if you go to my website, which is www.contentbyseema.com, you will get access to 142 course ideas, which I have already validated for you. So I know for a fact that there is a market for them. So you can actually take any of these ideas and start creating a course around that. So feel free to grab that. You just have to sign up and you'll get it automatically. Other than that, for people who are coaches, some of the stuff that I recommend that you do a lot is giving away worksheets and downloads, because that's really how you build your list, and only when you have a large enough list can you make your income. So I have this great bundle that I created, which is literally plug and play templates for content, and you can use them as course worksheets. I know, Deanna, you got the bundle. You can use it for course worksheets. You can use it to create content upgrades. If you've got something like these lives going, you can use it to create worksheets to go along with the lives, or you can create webinar worksheets, or you can do podcast upgrades. You can use them in so many different ways. You can use them in your one-to-one coaching as well. So normally this bundle goes for $67 for 40 worksheets, but because Deanna's a really good friend, we're going ahead and we've got a special code where they can get it for, I think it was $15, right? Off? Was it 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
$15 off, and Deanna's going to share the link for us in the comments. And so you can go to that link
Absolutely.
and enter the code Diana, and it is Deanna, right? I remember it being Deanna.
Yeah, it's, both works, as they say.
Both work. Okay. So you can enter the code Deanna or Diana, wherever you come from, and it'll give you $15 off the bundle. And yeah, you can use them. They're all in Google Drive, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to work, which design software to use them with. So you don't need Illustrator or even Canva to do them. It's really simple. I just created a couple of these in brand colors for a friend of mine who's promoting them to his list, and it literally took me 60 seconds to change the colors to his brand colors. So they're fully customizable. You can add your brand colors, your fonts, your logo, and just make it look uniquely yours. So nobody's going to have the same templates as you on the planet.
Awesome, awesome, Seema, and I'm using that as you said. So this is really incredible product. So
Thank
really,
you.
don't hesitate, and grab this bundle. I'll be sharing all the links in this thread. And as usual, just to remind you, you can always claim your free business strategy session with me, your host, Diana Joy, if you'd like to get traction and immediate results in your life coaching business and get some mindset tools around that as well. So find all the links in the comments for this thread. I hope this was very useful. Well, at least it was for me. Thanks again, Seema. It was a great interview. And just any last words before we sign off?
I would just say that don't be afraid to experiment. I think one of my clients has said this to me recently, and I've just adopted it as my mantra, which is that business is really an experiment. Just don't be afraid to just have a little fun and to play with ideas, and don't, just like this template kit, to be honest, it was not something that I planned for. I didn't research. It literally was an idea that came to me based on somebody's comment where they had a issue with Canva, and it just gave me this idea to create this, and I put it together pretty much in a weekend, and it's been selling out ever since. So don't be afraid to take a risk and just see something that's a need. And even if other people don't have the same format, I don't think there are any other course creators that sell template kits. Don't be afraid to zig when other people zag, and just create something that's different and unique for your tribe, because people will notice and you will get attention based on that.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Seema. And just to remind you, next week I'll be talking with Danny Calhoun on how to find your perfect virtual assistant. So stay tuned and have a fabulous Friday, everyone. Bye.
Are we still live? It shows